Hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
What's going on here? Lorena, can you maybe pop on and see if we can hear you?
Hi.
There we go,
All
yeah.
right. So I think it might be on Susan's side.
Yes.
Yeah, we still can't hear you.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes in the settings, like where your mic is, it'll let you choose a microphone.
You can hear us though, right?
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
You can.
I had a problem.
Okay. Well, interesting. My headphone mic is not working, so this is my computer mic that you're hearing me through. So hopefully this all works. So yeah, Rachel is going to do her best to try and join in, but it's not connecting properly. So let's go ahead and call to order. This is the Commission on Inclusion and Adaptive Living. Stacy, can you do roll call?
Chair Simokondo? Vice Chair Purrington?
Present.
Commissioner Becker?
Present.
Commissioner Dobson?
Present.
Commissioner Dorman? Commissioner Eisenberg? I see you. I'm trying to figure out, I got something going on here. Okay, Commissioner Eisenberg? I will note you as present because we can see you, I just can't hear you. And Commissioner Randall. All right, we have it for.
Eisenberg can hear us. Have her put it in the chat if she can.
There's a cell phone that is trying to engage.
It's unmuted, so they should be able to speak. Is there somebody that's on telephone?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Like over here. We can.
Michelle, I'm here.
Thanks, Michelle.
Okay. All commissioners should have their microphones on mute to keep the background noise out of the chat room. The chair of the meeting should ensure everyone has an opportunity to speak if they would like. Commissioners should use the chat function to inform the chair they would like to make a statement, and the chair will announce the commissioners to speak in order they appear in the chat. This is the time for open call for public participation. So open call to the public enables the public to address the commission about an item that is not on the prepared agenda. Comments relating to items that are on the agenda will be taken at the time that the item is discussed. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes per item to allow everyone the opportunity to speak. Do we have public participation today?
Yes, we do. We've got one.
Great.
Come on, just so that we can catch you. Yeah.
Hi everyone, Dapper Dre, above knee amputee for almost 3.5 years now. So not on this commission, but of the commission that this person we work towards. So I wanted to come and personally invite everybody to an event that I got a grant for First Friday called Car Free First Friday. We're going to shut down Aspen Street from LaRue to San Francisco to better use the walkable space of Heritage Square and the surrounding street. Invite everybody you can. Would love to see all kinds of demographics represented, ages, socioeconomic, race, all that good stuff. I think the more diversity we have at this event, the better it is, because during that event and probably before and after, I still have to kind of figure that out. We'll have surveys for people to take in as much as how they experienced the event. Would they like to see more of it? Was it horrible and they never want to see it ever again? And just kind of any general open comments that can be given to not only the merchants within that downtown area, but also the city and anybody else who is able to help with some of those things. I think seeing that space in a walkability, because it is one of the most heavily trafficked areas, and getting feedback from people who have limited mobility or who have a harder time getting around. Does the street closure help them or does it hurt them? And how can we make it better for everyone? So please share, please attend, and would really love to have as many people as we can there viewing it, giving their opinion, so that hopefully in the future, if we can do it again or continue to do it for First Fridays, then we have that feedback of what kind of incremental improvements we can make for that particular event. So yeah, that's it. If anybody had any questions, I can take them, but if not, hopefully you all can make it.
Lorena has
I-
her hand.
Yeah.
Hey, Dre,
Lorena.
Oh, what's up,
really
Rena?
exciting news. Wondering, Stacy, if someone can take a photo and just capture that flyer and email it out, that would be awesome. My second thing is I have a resource for Dre that I got at the Arizona Bicycle Summit earlier in April. And it's a book titled When Driving is Not an Option by Anna Latita Zifferts. And I think that it would be a really great complement to the work you're doing. So hopefully we can get offline and share that resource.
That'd be awesome.
Dana?
And thanks, Dre. I missed who the we is. Are you part of an organization or?
Oh, so I independently have been working towards it, but I would say the key players are Creative Flagstaff and Downtown Business Alliance. Those are the people who have historically held the permits for First Friday Art Walk. So Creative Flagstaff has held that permit for a long time, and then DBA kind of splits responsibility for promotion and presentation of First Friday Art Walk. So that would be kind of the collective we.
Okay, thank you for explaining that.
Thank you, folks. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Yes,
you.
thank you.
Mhm.
Is there other public participation?
No, We are good.
Okay. All right, well then we're going to move into our discussion items. I cannot tell, is Reggie, let's see, Reggie is present. All right, so first up is our code compliance discussion. And Reggie, when you are ready.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. And I apologize. I'm having connectivity problems with my laptop. Otherwise, I would be on that and on camera. So I'm actually doing it with my phone right now. So I am limited, excuse me, in what I can do. But and I also want to thank you all for the recognition you gave us through the commission. I apologize that I was unable to be there myself. A lot of outside things have been going on, but I did make sure one of my staff was there to, accept that. So thank you again. I don't have a whole lot to offer today, but I will start by saying this. It has been a pleasure to work with you all this past year or two. We're really working hard to address the needs that you have. One thing I can tell you this past week, and past couple of weeks actually, I'm sure you all see a lot of bags of pine needles and different things for bulk pickup that have been out. It's been a very big challenge for us and the code compliance department because of the schedule changes that obviously took place at the beginning of the year. We're working with solid ways to address some of those things and connecting with them to let them know what we're seeing out in the field and how we can all work together to, address that issue. Because right now, that's one of the biggest things we're seeing out there. It is monopolizing a lot of our code compliance time, believe it or not. And as you know, we're a very small group. I have 2 staff members that are out in the field on a regular basis. I have one dark sky specialist that doesn't deal with anything other than lighting, and then myself. But I'm in the office a lot. I'm in the office more and not able to be out in the field as much as I used to be and would like to. That's something that I'm actually working on for this coming spring and summer. I'm gonna be doing my best to get out of the office more. I've actually declined a few meetings recently so that I can be out in the field and assist my staff, but also get a better feel on what's really out there with my own eyes. And so I'm grateful to work with you all. Rachel and Jamie have been fantastic to work with. And so I just want to, give my shout out to them and, continue to move from there. We are heavily invested in dealing with walkability issues, and there's quite a few of them out there, whether it be vehicles, whether it be trash cans, garbage cans, bulk pickups, bulk piles, vehicles being on the sidewalks. Um, we get out there, and the two staff, Kevin and Robert, are very proactive in what they do. But of course, because it's just two of them trying to deal with the whole city, um, obviously they don't see everything. And so, again, thank you for working with us and understanding what we do. And my pledge to you is, as long as you, because a lot of times you are the eyes that we don't have. And so you can always forward something that you see directly to me or to the staff as a group. And we will absolutely get out there and address those issues as quickly as possible. Um, we, I will say that we've been working hard for Kevin and Robert to get some certifications so that even the public sees how dedicated we are to make sure they have all the proper knowledge to be a code compliance officer and continually, get more educational skills. And so I'm proud to announce that Kevin and Robert, this in the past couple of weeks, the month of April, had attended a code compliance certification academy. And they did get their certifications. They completed the class. That's what they call a level 1 certification. Although they're more advanced than a level 1, the reason they had to go through that is because during COVID and some other things, a lot of those classes and academies were not um, provided. And so we wanted to get them going. There's the level 2 certification that will be coming up sometime in July, which I will make sure that they go to that to get more additional information. And it'll go all the way up to a level 3 at some point. It's hard to find a course that's affordable. We don't have a big budget even for training and education, but through the community development department, we're able to utilize some funding for training that we don't specifically have in the code compliance budget. And so I can assure you all that we're doing everything to make sure they have all current information and education so that we can address any issues that are out there to make sure the city is walkable. I will say this as well. They deal with all of our city codes. So they're not experts on all the codes, but they at least know where to find them and who they can talk to in different titles. And so the title that we deal with predominantly for sidewalk issues and trash can issues are Title 8, which is called Public Way and Property, and also Title 7, which is Health and Sanitation. That's where the garbage cans and the collections and where they're placed and things fall. But just understand these guys deal with a number of different codes. We do Title 10, which is zoning code. We have Title 9, which is traffic. And we deal with some engineering issues and building code, which is Title 4, some business codes, which is Title 3. So a variety of different things that these guys have to know where to find that information. So um, just be assured that we're out there. We do field complaints when we get them, but we are very, very, very proactive out in the field. And very proud of the work that they do. And again, I value the relationship we have with the commission, and we will continue to address any issues that you have that you see that we haven't been able to either get to or we may not be aware of. And so I'm grateful to be here. I am bouncing between meetings, so I'm going to kind of keep my comments short. So if you have any questions for me, I'll answer them the best I can. And if I don't have an answer today, I will absolutely get back to you with the best answer I can provide.
Great, thank you. Are there questions or comments from the commissioners? Rachel? Oh, sorry. I couldn't see the hand in the room.
Well, Reggie, first up, thank you for the work that you and your team do. And there's sort of been an ongoing conversation about enforcement. Does code compliance do enforcement when infractions are found?
Absolutely. I mean, we like to call it compliance, and I know there's a misconception that we don't enforce, but part of the whole compliance process is enforcement. So although we call it compliance, we are absolutely enforcing the codes that are on the books.
Thank you. What does that look like?
Well, when we see a violation, the first steps we do is try to make contact with whoever we feel is the property owner adjacent to that location and notify them if we find that it's a valid violation. We notify them either verbally if we're able to make direct contact, or our first step will be to leave some type of door hanger notifying them that we were there and we have found a violation. And if they could respond to us, either clear it up or give us a call to discuss what that violation may be. And that's always the first step. That's part of our process for voluntary compliance. If they do not respond to us or to our door hangers in any way, we will again attempt to make contact directly. If not, then we find the address and we will send written letters, notices of violation, which then obviously gives them a certain period of time to rectify the violation. And if they do not respond to that, we can escalate it to more formal legal steps to eventually, if we had to, go to court, which is pretty rare with us. Usually people will respond once they see that we've been there and we're not going to not show up. We don't just let the violation go and never do anything about it. So those are the steps we take. And so the ultimate goal is to have them understand that there is a violation, and we'll work with them and do everything we can to rectify it and to abate that violation. If they don't and they ignore us, we do have the tools and the steps to take it further.
Thank you.
Rachel?
Rachel was next and then we'll go to you. Perfect.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm not there in person. Reggie, do you mind putting into the chat your email for your entire staff so that if anybody wants to reach out directly to you, they can? The other thing is I'm encouraging everybody that can hear this, please continue reporting to either Jamie or I. I will drop my email in and I will also drop Jamie's in. Feel free to reach out to us for anything. We do also a little bit of follow-up in the fact that we wait a week and then if we're able, we drive out to what was reported. And I have to say that Reggie's team more often than not has been on it. You know, a lot of these enforcement issues, or I'm sorry, compliance issues really have to do with the fact that compliance puts the door hangers on. But some people just, they want their trash can where they want it. So I think it's important to realize that we need to give a little bit of grace to these guys And if we need to work with them to find a better solution, then that's possibly something that this commission can take up in the next year when we do our planning sessions. Reggie, I just want to give another shout out because I know that you guys work really, really hard. And I really do appreciate everything that you do. Jamie and I as well look forward to working with you guys. I'm also going to consider this both mine and Jamie's liaison reports. We do have an all call out for many of you if you are interested in joining the police committee that the chief is forming. It's called the Crossability Committee. And we are looking for people in the differently abled, inclusive, and adaptive community that will meet quarterly to have a meeting, talk about issues, talk with the chief, and then we will make a plan going forward from there. And then there will be one, possibly two events in person with the chief and police officers and anyone from the differently abled community to come and talk to the police officers, share their gratitude, share their concerns, that sort of thing. And so if you're interested in that and you did not get an email from me, please reach out and I will get that. It's a survey that we need to know so we can choose the best time and date, and I will get that to you. It may take me a little bit of time, but I will get that out to you, and we will make that decision by early May. So with that, thank you, everybody. I do appreciate you.
Hey, Rachel, can I jump in real quick here? I wasn't sure if you heard when I first got on, but unfortunately, I'm on my phone, and so I have limited ability to do things right now. So I'm not able to get into the chat to drop my information in there. But what I can do is later on today, I can actually send an email to the commission with all of our contact information in there, if that would suffice.
With your permission, I will do that.
And Georgiana is also pulling,
Absolutely.
so that she can drop it in the chat. I'm happy to share any information as well.
I appreciate it.
I've
Thank you
got
so much.
I've got Reggie on speed dial, so I know all the digits.
Yes, she does.
Susan, Keith had a comment question.
This seems like a very long process. Someone could get injured in this process. It sounds like it could take a couple of months maybe or more to get something resolved. And I'm concerned that somebody could get injured in the time span of getting something actually resolved, especially for something that could be prevented if the process was a bit shorter and a lot quicker, like, within a week or two. So that's a concern, but also maybe a suggestion on like bulk trash. We have in my neighborhood, the bulk trash pickup, a week later, there was more stuff out there and it's still collecting, and it's probably a good 2 months or so before bulk trash gets picked up again. Is there a way we could probably get with environmental folks and maybe the people that are driving the pickup, the trucks that go into our neighborhoods twice a week, one to pick up trash, one to pick up recycle, could be on the lookout, know what the schedule is for their area as far as bulk trash, and be on the lookout for people putting stuff out early, people putting stuff out that covers sidewalks, and somehow get them to be able to report it. Just a thought process to go out there for maybe some future possibilities with the city, getting some kind of communications that the people that drive our trash pickup trucks or dump or whatever you want to call them. They're not pickup trucks, but the ones who pick up the trash cans and empty those things could be able to keep an eye out and report these things. That would keep your people, Reggie, from having to drive every single street in town every day to find the people that put stuff out there. That would prevent a lot of that and maybe even make the whole process a lot quicker because we'd have eyes on the street that could report these things. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Keith, and I can tell you that it's not maybe as consistent as we'd like it to be, but solid waste, the drivers do reach out to us occasionally when they do see something out there. And once they do, we get out there, as fast as we can. I will say that during the weeks that Kevin and Robert were at the Certification Academy, obviously that slowed a lot of things down because they were gone, down in the valley a couple of days a week for 3 weeks straight. And so that took a little availability of responding as quickly as we like to in that type of process. But that is something that solid waste, we are working very hard with them to, make the process a little better. And I know it's a long, cumbersome process, and we are aware, especially if it's a safety issue, we put those at the top of the list and we try to respond to those before we respond to anything else.
I
And so
appreciate
again,
that. Thank you.
any input from you all is greatly appreciated because, obviously none of us are perfect and we're not out there. So we love when you do let us know and we respond as quickly as we can. So thank you.
And I realize you're shorthanded and I can't drive all the streets every day either.
I know, and that's why I'm really personally going to try to be out in the field, a bit more often because it'll take a little pressure off of Kevin and Robert, but it'll also give us the opportunity to deal with things a lot faster.
Thank you, sir.
Susan, I don't see any other questions or comments in the room.
Okay, thank you, Reggie, so much for joining us and doing everything that you are doing for our city. Thank you.
Well,
We
thank
are
you
going
very
to
much,
move.
and I appreciate the time. Take care.
Yes.
Bye.
We are going to move to the land availability and suitability study plus code analysis project. I see Genevieve Perthtree.
Pear tree.
Okay. Great. You have the floor. And just for all commissioners, at the bottom of the agenda, you'll see the slides that were provided ahead of time.
Thank you for having me. Let me go ahead. Whoops. Share my, too many things that I'm sharing here. Accidentally closed the wrong window. All right, this is the one. Okay, so again, my name is Genevieve Pear3. I'm in the Sustainability Division at the City of Flagstaff. We also have Jen Michelson here from the Housing Division. So we're tag teaming on this presentation. But this project is a collaboration between a lot of different folks in the city, including sustainability and housing, but also planning. So we're really working together to move this project forward. So I'm here just to give a brief introduction, let you know what's happening, talk about how you can get involved, answer any questions. And if you want more detailed information later, I can definitely provide that. Okay. Yeah. All right. So why are we here? So just to kind of set the stage, the city has two ambitious and really important plans, the 10-year housing plan and the carbon neutrality plan. And the 10-year housing plan aims to reduce the affordable housing need in our community by half over 10 years, including impacting residents through unit creation and subsidy provision and preserving housing units. So you can see the details on the slide there. And then we also have our carbon neutrality plan, which aims for carbon neutrality by 2030 through reducing our greenhouse gas emissions by 44%. Also helping Flagstaff become more resilient to climate change impacts, as well as addressing climate change in a manner that prioritizes those most impacted and ensures the costs and benefits of climate adaptation and mitigation are equitably distributed. So basically, these are really, really important and also very ambitious goals. And they came out of the city's declared housing and climate emergencies. Those were both in 2020. And those both came through community generated efforts to have those emergencies declared. And then these plans came out of those in order to address those. So that's kind of the foundation for why we have this last cap project. I know it's not the best acronym, but that's what we call it. So basically the last cap project, our goal is kind of twofold. The part that we're focused on today is the code analysis project. So that's the CAP in the last cap acronym. And that's basically looking at a city's development codes and processes to identify how we can better meet these goals. So, Reggie talked about a lot of different codes that his team works on or enforces. So some of those are some of the ones he mentioned, like zoning code, engineering code, other kind of development standards that basically guide how development happens in the city and what our built environment looks like. And so we have these ambitious housing and climate goals, wanting to find out our development codes actually helping us meet those. And so the CAP phase there's 3 parts of it. The first part was a code diagnostic report, which basically looked at how our code is helping us or not to meet those goals. The second phase, which is where we are right now, are kind of looking at some really high priority barriers and kind of laying out options. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but we are working with a consultant team who are kind of experts in this stuff and are helping us identify, to help us move through this process. And then our next step in that code analysis project part is going to be final recommendations for code changes that the consultant's going to come up with. So what we are trying to figure out right now is what direction do we tell the consultant to move in, basically, in terms of what kinds of things they can look into recommending. Because we're not there yet. We're kind of in this higher level potential options for changes we could do. So once we have a better idea of direction, then we will tell the consultant and they'll come back with specific recommendations for code changes. So that's that CAP part of the project. That's the second part of bullets on this slide. So that first part, the land availability and site suitability study, the last, basically looked at what land we have available, basically for housing development. And that part already happened in the project. So that part's basically complete, but now we're in the middle of that code analysis part. And so we've been going to lots of city commissions, going to city council, to some different interest groups around town, and are hoping to kind of get some direction by the end of June approximately, so that we can go back to the consultant and tell the group what things to look at in detail for code recommendations. So just a really brief overview of where we've been. And again, if anyone has detailed questions, happy to go into it offline in more detail. But basically our first phase, that code diagnostic report, identified key barriers to housing and climate goals. So they're basically impacting our development standards in a way, or guiding these code sections or guiding our development standards in a way that are moving us farther from meeting our adopted climate and housing goals. So just looking at standards for different zones, parking, affordable housing, our incentives, our processes, street width, winter parking ordinance, street connectivity. So lots of different things having to do with transportation, housing, protecting trees, like they kind of all meet together and basically are acting as barriers in certain ways to meeting our housing and climate goals.
I have a question. I don't see that slide on the agenda. Did I miss one?
Yeah, I just added it while we were talking because I was like, I think we need a little bit of background.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Question came up at our last commission meeting.
It
too, and I
did.
totally misinterpreted it. I realized, and like they needed the little icons of these are all of our barriers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I can send this out.
Thank you.
But yeah, I just was like, based on our last commission presentation, I just added it just now.
Okay,
So
yeah, I was trying to read and understand like what the specific things look like. I don't see this slide.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I will give that to Stacy and she can forward it out.
thank you.
But yeah, thank you for pointing that out. So basically, this just looked at a lot of different ways our development codes are impacting what's getting built and whether that's helping us meet the city's adopted climate and housing goals or if we're moving farther away from them. So where we are now, I mentioned we're kind of in that second phase, code concepts. So the consultant looked at, again, these kind of high level options for where we could go, looking at incorporating sustainability standards and incentives into our development, also looking at how and where we protect trees and steep slopes and things like that. Also looking at our street design and potentially having options for different street design, narrower street widths to promote safety and walkability, and then also looking at how we manage our winter parking and snow removal. Because they did find that the city of Flagstaff, among other kind of comparable cities that have a lot of snow, we're kind of on the most restrictive end in terms of winter parking. So we designed streets to accommodate parking, but you can't park there for 6 months out of the year because of the winter parking ordinance. So kind of just looking at how all these things fit together. And then they also looked at some specific scenarios for standards and incentives, looking at different parts of the zoning code. And those things are listed there. And again, I'll send this out so that you have a copy. So apologies for not having that in advance. And then this is the last new slide, I promise. And so basically just looking at different, so the consultant basically said, if we optimize our incentives for sustainable design and affordable housing, what happens? How close does that get us to meeting the city's housing and climate goals versus if we change the base code, including more sustainable development standards, that would be scenario 2. And then looking at scenario 3 and really focusing on market rate housing production. And kind of seeing so basically if we change different parts of the code, what happens basically. And I see Rachel has her hand up. So Rachel, go ahead if you have a question.
Hi, Genevieve. Question. I see that affordable is, can you go back to that first slide?
This one or this one?
No, one more. One more.
That one?
No, one more. The very beginning, right there. So I see that you're including affordable housing in here.
Mhm.
And I think often accessibility and affordable housing are clumped into one. My concern is, and this is from speaking from a personal side, I'm getting shut out of a lot of those affordable housing units simply because, number one, they're not completely ADA accessible, or they're selling to people that are not disabled and have no benefit from having a bar in the bathroom, or lowered cabinets or something like that. So is it possible to separate those two out? Because I know that right now you're looking at 10% of new housing developments will have the affordable portion. Do you have a portion of that 10% that could be allocated to accessibility?
Yeah, I feel like I don't have 100% of the information to answer that thoroughly. Would an ADA requirement, is that a building code requirement? A lot of this gets into building code requirement that I'm less familiar with. But I know
Okay.
our affordable housing agreements that we enter into with developers, kind of like one-off, like one at a time. We don't get that specific about, they're much higher level, kind of just governing like the income limits associated with those units, and how the reporting will look for those units. And we have not historically delved into a certain, carving out a certain portion of those affordable units looking a particular way other than unit mix, like a 1-bedroom, a studio, a 2-bedroom. So that could be something we could look into going further in future development agreements, kind of drilling down a certain percentage of the percentage. But I would like to understand more of our building code requirements for ADA and accessibility. Definitely not a pro on that detail.
But I think thanks for that too.
Stacy, would it be possible to ask somebody from code, and then maybe Genevieve or Michaela to come back so that we can have a roundtable discussion with all of us here? I feel like it's so important because, first of all, not all of us need affordable housing, we just need accessible housing. And so clumping it together, I think, kind of creates a stigma, but it's also creating a vacuum where I have applied for 5 different affordable housing units in town and basically been said it's already sold to somebody that's low income. And so it's becoming a greater concern because we do have about 14% of our population that will either be disabled or need accessibility probably in the next, I would say, 5 or 6 years. And I think that it's something that needs to be considered.
I can certainly reach out to see when somebody might be able to come provide some
Thank-
input. Susan,
Thanks, Stacy. Thanks.
Pete's got a question.
Not sure, well, somewhat of a question. I'm assuming there are some kind of building code requirements, right? And you're using wherever, whether it's city or county or something like that. I'm assuming that's what's gonna be in here. Is there a way maybe to get recommendations into the code or recommendations to the builders, like, doors? You know, making all the doors at least 4 foot. You know what I mean? Some internals at least 3 foot, so a wheelchair could get through them. You know, but an outside door maybe 4 foot. And walkways and stuff, no steps inside, no steps outside. That would make more of these things accessible to other people. If they were, you know, even if it's a recommendation or a guideline, you know, to do. And that would be great for all of the housing, you know, not just parts of it, you know. That would make it a little bit more open. Room transitions, like I say, no steps or little spot, you know. Thresholds are okay as long as they're not big, you know, that goes through something. I mean, you have to have a threshold to a main doorway. It keeps the weather out under that, you know, so, you know, keeping in mind, universal design, and maybe they can look at universal design and use that as some of a recommendation or, things along that line. A sink in a bathroom, maybe not having a cabinet underneath. So if a person does need that, they could, you know, let's say a handicapped person is in a wheelchair, wants to buy one of those, they may have to pay somebody to lower the sink, but at least it'd be a lot cheaper than ripping out a whole bunch of stuff, you know what I mean? Making it so, you don't have to make the interior to where all the appliances are lower and all that, no. When a person buys something like that, they're gonna have to pay or get, funding, to have it altered to what their needs are, because not everybody's needs are gonna be the same. You know, but make it to where it might be a little bit easier to change something, to lower or, you know, little less cost, a little more cost effective for somebody to change it. You know, again, that goes into universal design a little bit, but it also goes into something that the builders can possibly consider. That's just my thoughts and maybe suggestions on what to do along those lines, because like Rachel was saying, because that was what I had come into this meeting thinking about and trying to discuss along those lines to make it a little more universal design as possible.
To, for sure, Dobson speaking. And I had to do a quick Google search because like Rachel said, there is a difference between accessible housing and affordable housing. And of course, under affordable housing, the ADA, you have to be compliant if a tenant requests that if they need accommodations, that they do have that right to request for accommodations. However, in looking at some cities such as Austin, they have like integrated housing plans, which include that, I'm reading that here, it says that no more than a quarter, 25% of the units can be set aside specifically for people with disabilities. So perhaps if we can provide some of that language and some of the coding to separate, that way people know that it's not just financial low income assistance, but that we're setting aside different units specifically for disabled people. And that if people do not want to come under the disability accessibility units, that if they do want to move into more of the financial need of it, that they do also have they can also petition to have those accommodations added into their housing units. So yeah, I'm just looking here, it says some cities have done this already in the integrated housing plans. So I don't know if the consultant could possibly benefit from looking at some of the fair housing laws. I don't know the other cities that they're doing comparative studies to, but possibly see if they have like models of adaptive or integrated housing. I know the Kelsey, like in San Francisco, they're really good adaptability, accessible, integrated housing model, and like the one here in Austin. So that might be something that your consultant can look into as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I had put in the chat that the Fair Housing Act really does need to be reviewed as far as the minimum requirements of ADA do need to be met, but also reasonable accommodations. If someone is applying for affordable housing and has a disability, they are required by the Fair Housing Act to provide those accommodations, reasonable accommodations. So if a unit is set aside, great, but if there's still available units and all the other quote unquote accessible units are taken, they still should be providing reasonable accommodation for someone to apply and secure that housing. So Rachel, I hope that helped answer your question in the
It
chat.
does, Susan. Thank you.
Great.
And Rashira, thank you. Kevin, thank you. This is a good discussion.
Yeah, thank you for your feedback. We're taking notes, so if we do, we can also always come back and talk about this more. But for now, we're taking notes and have a lot of stuff to look into and think about. Okay, I just have a few more slides left, so I'll just get back to where I was. Yeah, so basically, where can you find more information? So we have a project website that is in the slides that got sent out. So there's a bunch of documents there. They're fairly long, so we don't expect everyone to look at those in a ton of detail. But if you are interested in digging in deeper, you absolutely can do that. We do have some future public outreach opportunities coming up that are already scheduled, going back to City Council on May 6th. And then we have this kind of larger community conversation scheduled for June 13th. So we can follow up once we have more details about that second date. But we are also, so our next steps, as I mentioned previously, is we're kind of in this high level analysis phase. We are gonna be seeking direction from City Council in terms of where we go in our next phase. So we would love to hear from you if you have specific feedback, questions, comments, either following up with us after this meeting or having us come back. Either one is fine. But basically I would say, what's super helpful is we have a couple of recordings from some commission meetings we attended about 2 months ago, Housing and Sustainability Commissions. We had a really detailed presentation there, lots of good questions. So if you really want to dig in, that's a great place to start. But again, if you have questions or comments or want to meet with staff individually or as a group, please let us know. We're happy to come back and do that. And these are our contact information. So we're here if you have any questions today, but also again, in the future, we want to hear from you and your thoughts and perspectives that we might not have heard yet. So thank you everyone for your feedback, and I'm happy to answer any questions now, or feel free to contact us in the future.
Are there further comments or questions?
Not in the room.
Genevieve, I appreciate you coming to the meeting and sharing this with us and listening to our initial feedback here. I do encourage people to go and take a look at the report. I took a look at it last night. It's quite thorough. And I'll be using AI to help me understand it a little bit more as well, because some of this code compliance stuff is outside of my scope of practice. But thank you again for joining us today.
Yeah, that sounds
right.
good. Thank you for having us. And again, highly recommend watching one of those recordings from the past. I think that's a great way to, I think we were on our best. we had some time to synthesize the information and figure out how to present it. And I think that's a great place to start if you do want to dig in. Might make those reports more accessible. So anyway, thank you again. And we're available if you need us. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So next on our agenda is discussion and possible direction on therapeutic recreation. Do we have anyone from Parks and Rec on?
Here, I know that I was going to have to reschedule the discussion on hours of operation at the facilities. That was a snafu on my end in terms of scheduling. We do have somebody here from pros, but I don't know that he would be the best one to talk with for therapeutic
Yeah.
recreation.
So we put this on the agenda to try and follow up with the recommendations that we put towards city council. And hopefully having some kind of insights on what the discussion has been, or what additional information or discussion needs to happen. So is there anyone on the commission who is aware or has insider information? Insider information.
Susan, I can offer that I did resend the letter from the commission to the council, seeking any feedback from them. I did not receive anything back to date. Like I said, I had a bit of a scheduling snafu with our pros team, so I'm happy to re-engage with them and see if we can get an update on that.
Yeah, that was primarily the purpose of that agenda item, was to get the update and find out if there's more information or support that the commission can provide.
Stacy, can we move this to next? Stacy, can we move this to next month's agenda and ask pros if they're able to attend at that time?
I'm going to reach out to pros, talk through this a little bit and find out what might work for them. If it's not next month, then June, but I'll report back.
And my preference would be June. I will not be present at the May commission meeting.
I've made a note of that.
And just for others' insight, I'm a recreational therapist, so my background is therapeutic recreation. So I would like to be present for that conversation. So then we don't have anyone here to discuss the hours of operations at recreation facilities.
Well, I do have Tyrone Johnson here. When I discovered my issue in scheduling, again, I apologize. They reached out, pros reached out and said that Tyrone might be available at the next meeting. So we've got him on the schedule for next meeting. I didn't know if he was gonna. Tyrone, I don't want to put you on the spot if you're not prepared, but I saw you jump into the meeting. So if you had anything to offer, but we can certainly wait till next month if you have a more formal presentation.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, if we wait till next month, then we can go ahead and formalize it and we can present to everybody next month on our hours of operation, and I can answer any questions at that point in time.
Great. Thanks, Tyrone.
Rachel?
I think that we need to put this on June because like Susan said, she is the one that has run the informal working group. So let's move this out till June. But the other thing that I would like to add, kind of as part of this, Russ is not here today, but did ask me to find out if there has been any movement about the Silver Sneakers program with city rec departments. That's not the word, but he would like to know more about how Silver Sneakers is working with the city. And so perhaps we could do that in June.
So if I might offer, I think it would be good to bring Tyrone back in May to talk about hours of the facilities, provide some information on the Silver Sneakers piece and some of those elements, and then we can maybe bring back the therapeutic recreation topic in June. It actually might help our pros team to separate them out a little bit.
Yep, I agree with that.
I'm sorry, did you have something, Elida?
Oh, Renew Active was something Russ was also curious about.
Renew Active. Okay, I'll make a couple of notes here. Thank you.
Okay, well then our next agenda item is the discussion and possible action of the letter to City Council supporting the development of an ADA transition plan. And so that letter was provided at the end of the agenda. Stacy, can you bring it up on the screen?
Just a second here. I closed my.
I might be able to share mine. My system, nope, it's not going to let me. Without totally canceling out of the meeting. I cannot share on Teams right now because right before this meeting, it did an update. So,
Oh, of course.
of course.
For folks in the room, would it be easier for me to put this on this screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like squinting.
I can't turn my neck.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. You let me know when you're ready for me to scroll through this.
Susan, do we need to read this in or?
Well, that's what
are
I was
we
going to ask. Yeah, I was going to ask next if all the commissioners had an opportunity to review the letter prior to coming into this meeting.
Yes.
Yeah. Those in the
Yes.
room have.
Okay. All right, so the purpose of this letter is to help provide some guidance to the city council for the creation of an ADA transition plan that would allow for the city to identify individuals who are interested in being part of a committee to work on the creation of that transition plan. Transition plans were part of the 2010 requirements that cities, local governments were to create their transition plans. And really to help prepare not only the city for making any potential changes, but also to demonstrate action towards some kind of ADA plan. And so the letter outlines all of that. It outlines a potential timeline. This is based off of both the City of Boulder and City of Austin's timelines of how they approached the creation of a transition plan. So it's roughly 6 to 9 months total of time. It does include, like I said, putting together a committee. I did put in there the working with the designated ADA coordinator. That way, we're starting that conversation with that person right away when they are hired and started. Do we have that person is hired and starting and?
An offer has been made. That's all I can share at this point. But we're hoping to have some more information soon, but an offer has been made. Yes.
Right, great. So in working with that person, it would be developing a committee. And so members of this commission could be part of it, outside public members, citizens, anyone who is interested in providing insights to the plan. Part of that is also doing a full inventory of all city-owned facilities, parks, sidewalks, and rights of way. And so it is it's more comprehensive and outlines exactly what all of those facilities or city-owned elements are. It would outline what are some of the programs and services that are offered that also need to look at accessibility. And it would offer basically an outline of all of the aspects that would need to be addressed as it relates to the ADA. And so pretty much the letter helps provide that picture to the city so that they're able to make hopefully a decision that moves us in a direction where we can have a transparent transition plan on a website ready to go for anyone in the city to be able to review and know that there's action being taken by the city for ADA compliance. So questions about the letter or comments?
I had a question, please. I thought the letter is great and like you said, really detailed and comprehensive. I'm wondering if we can include like a brief sentence on what is a transition plan? Or if the city council is already aware of there's such a thing called a ADA transition plan, just to kind of add maybe like a little background. Because I was kind of confused about the language, like transition to what? So I don't know if we can add like a sentence or if they already know.
Good, thank you for that. So yeah, just for all of our knowledge, the transition plan is from taking existing facilities and helping to make them more ADA compliant compared to building new buildings. So that's a totally different compliance that is in place. This is to help make sure that those existing buildings that primarily were before the 1990 ADA and then the updated 2010 compliance is there. But yes, I can add that in, absolutely. Rachel?
Susan, I think maybe if we vote this in today to go forward to city council, perhaps you and I can work on a presentation that you and I can do in front of city council at some point, just to kind of explain for the general public what we are talking about in this commission.
Yeah, that would be appropriate, especially because to support this effort, probably do need to have some city funds to help with all of the aspects all the way through the project. So helping everyone understand what the transition plan would be helpful.
I can put that request in.
Okay.
And just from a procedural standpoint, if the commission is amenable, a motion could be made with, to approve the letter with an amendment to add a definition of transition plan. So we can do that. You can make those edits and then resend it to me and I can get that released.
Okay. Other comments and questions? Okay, then I'll put forward a motion to approve the letter with the amendment of the additional definition of a transition plan.
I will make said motion.
Thank you, Rachel. Is there a second?
I can second.
Thank you, Rashira. Okay, then all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any nays? We have 2 absentia. And so that does pass. So I'll make those adjustments and send it to Stacy to submit to the council. And then also Rachel and I will put together a presentation to city council at a future meeting, preferably after June or after May.
Yeah,
Okay.
I will share the council's schedule is getting quite full to the point of kind of, we likely might not be able to do a presentation until they come back from their summer break, which will be the end of August, early September.
Which might be an appropriate timeline given the hire of the
Agreed.
individual who would be helping with that project if it goes forward.
Yeah, I think it's going to
Okay.
be really important for us to make the connection with the new person first and then talk about this. So July and August seem really good to me. And Susan, that will give you some time because I know you're really busy this summer.
It is a busy summer. Okay, so our next section is our liaison reports. Mayor Daggett, I see that you are on.
Oh, she actually, I think, had to.
Yeah, I just noticed.
Yeah, she was
As I
on for
was
the first part.
Okay. Lorena?
Thank you. Yes, I do have some transportation updates for Mountain Line. We have our next coordinated mobility council meeting on May 23rd. And we also have a wheelchair accessible vehicle subcommittee meeting this week, tomorrow actually, I know that Rashira is our newest addition. We're really excited to have her come on board. She's got some great ideas, and just looking forward to continuing making that impact and getting the word out. I did want to make a reminder, I dropped off some physical flyers for Stacy to hand out at this group. I know that some folks are eager to start distribution, and I definitely need some help getting those flyers out. We want to make this campaign as wide and broad as we can. If you want some more information or you need more flyers, I can arrange time to bring them to you physically, or you can pick them up here at Mountain Line. So please, please, please let me know. I really need some assistance on that effort. Besides that, I don't have anything else. So thank you.
Thank you. Our next update is from our youth liaison. So Joseph Spence and Elida.
Thank you. We did not have our meeting yesterday at 2:45 yesterday. Michelle had to reschedule it for next Tuesday, I believe. I have an update on my end of the we had our party last Friday, I believe, the 11th, and I actually got a volunteer of the year award for that, and I'm really, thank you. I'm very thankful to you, of course, and to Rachel, of course, for letting me come. It was very an honor. And as far as any other updates are concerned, we are excited to announce that my brother and his wife, they are expecting a boy.
Oh,
Alisar due in September.
that's amazing.
So we are very excited. Other than that, I don't think I have any more updates regarding it.
Thank you for covering, Joseph.
Absolutely.
I am getting a change to my work schedule, so I'll still be missing the meeting next Tuesday, but hopefully after that, I'll be off of Tuesdays and can start attending.
We'll keep you updated on everything that's going on in the loop of all this. Yeah. Of course. Yep. Of course.
Great, thank you. And then Rachel, you had mentioned that you had provided your liaison report. Is there anything else from sidewalk with Jamie or with parking?
There is not. The police committee is the only thing that either one of us would have reported. And hopefully by this time next month, we will have a better, more detailed report. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so then any information items to or from the commission members and staff liaisons? I'll jump in. Thank you to the commission for partnering with my students in the special event planning class, the 3 students who planned the event that happened on April 11th. I think that it went very well, just from a planning perspective. If you do have any insights or feedback, recommendations for the future, please send those to the students. They had sent out an email with a evaluation, but if you missed that deadline, I think it was the 18th, but still have some thoughts, you can still email them and let them know. They are compiling all of that information and will provide back to the city, basically a manual that we could utilize in the future. And so capturing as much knowledge as possible now would be helpful for all of us. So thanks again for that partnership. I think it was a great learning experience.
They did a great job.
Agreed.
Yeah, they did.
Susan, I do have, and I think that I may have talked to you about this. Ballet Folklorico is still they have not provided an invoice yet.
Correct. And as of yesterday's update, they had not responded to the students. So they provided the W-9, but not the. So they were going to reply. They were going to reply again and CC Stacy on it. And Georgiana. So that way, it might take away the middleman if it goes past the end of the semester and their requirements. So they wanted to make sure to bring in the appropriate people.
Next time we
Awesome.
might need more cupcakes as well, because those kids were amazing at not eating them while dancing, I might add.
I don't know if you saw the one little girl grabbed one on her way out of
was
the
amazing.
performance. It was great.
They wanted so bad.
But
though,
she
like-
waited till the end.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
It was a good one.
So yeah, that's the last piece of the entire puzzle to get resolved, and then we can close out the event. All right, any other?
Did I see your hand go up?
I don't think so.
I think Martin may have raised his hand.
I don't see it.
I think he
Okay.
just dropped the flyer in the chat for the Car Free First Friday.
Oh,
Awesome.
nice.
I'm-
Thank you.
I'm just lurking in the background. Thank you. Yeah, that's I think they're planning on closing part of Aspen for First Friday in May. So
Oh,
a
that's
good
great.
opportunity to see what streets are like without cars on them, and walking and biking and rolling and all that fun stuff.
That's great. Thank you for posting that in the chat. Okay, so agenda items that we have for next meeting will include bringing back pros to discuss the hours of operation and the silver sneakers and renew. Now I can't remember the name of the program, but the two programs that might be available to partner again. And then Stacy, did we have other items that we had put to May?
No, but I did get a request from Martin. He wants to come in and discuss some accessible trail information. So he will be presenting next month also. I'll go through and make sure I didn't miss anything that was supposed to be scheduled for May. But this is what I have as of right now. I did also want to let the commission know that I will be on vacation during our next meeting. So Georgiana has offered to sit in my place for that meeting.
Great.
Where are
Hopefully
you
it's
going?
somewhere wonderful.
I'm going to Belize.
Mr. Randall and you, Mr. Randall went to Hawaii. Now you're going to Belize?
I am.
It's in
Thank you.
May is the month of international travel, I guess.
That is what I'm hearing.
Well, as I mentioned, I will not be at the next meeting as well, and Rachel will be taking back over, leading the meeting. Any
Yay.
other last comments before we adjourn?
I think we're.
I think we're good. Okay. We're good. Okay, 16 p.m. All right. Enjoy the rest of your week. Sunshine.
Thank you guys.
Yep, thank you. And I haven't gotten those flyers down yet, but I will get them to the commission as soon as I get them copied. If y'all don't run off real quick, I can get them to those of you in person.
And I think I gave you about 10 or so feel free to hand them all out. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right.
Thanks.
Starting the meeting.
Can you, there's like a little, you